Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome aboard the B109K-4. Today I want to show you what I think of the new flight model changes, how they affect the gameplay, how the patch has also changed a little bit the behavior of allied teams and also Axis teams. To make it short, I'm disappointed with the overall performance of not just the aircraft, but also the teams. What I experienced on the dev server with the B109K-4 in the test flights is wildly different from what I'm experiencing on the live server. Today's video is sponsored by the Free Eagles app for War Thunder. Download the app in the video description below and use the code shown on screen to get 10 golden eagles right now. So here we are on Berlin, and well, the reason why I use gun pods is because I need to hunt bombers. I don't want to, I need to. First of all, I am still way inferior in the 1 versus 1 situation against any allied fighter. The handling is still bad regardless if I just take one cannon in the nose and no gun ports, and it doesn't matter if I take the 20 or the 30mm, and so I decide myself to use 3 20mm because it's easier to lead, I have more ammunition and they're more reliable, unlike the 30mm that still spark like hell and do not enough damage, especially against bombers that fire at me back with recently in the previous patch buffed 50 caliber machine guns. I'm kind of side climbing, spiraling to altitude over my base because that gives me enough time before the bombers arrive, and it also gives me enough altitude, the possibility to accelerate to attack speed and to minimize my risk of getting damaged in the process, and I also can then keep the altitude to engage hopefully enemy fighters. The BF-109s are, in my opinion, struggling, and they always have struggled since patch 1.35, 1.37, like 3 to 4 years ago. And that was also something that I experienced in arcade. So to go to realistic in the discussion, the BF-109s have good climb rate, no doubt about that. They also can research armament that is kind of hefty, at least on paper. If you use the 30mm, you have a limited amount of ammunition, and well, you cannot really lead targets behind 400, 500 meters, except maybe for bombers, but then you have just one cannon, or if you use then the 30mm gun pods, your aircraft gets really heavy. So you always have to switch between gun pods and non-gun pods. It depends also which targets you engage. And of course, gun pods severely reduce your performance, but against bombers, I'd rather have firepower. The problem with bombers is that on this map, they have well, they have the advantage in reaching the base and dropping their payload before anybody can, well, climb to altitude, intercept them and survive it. And you know what it is like to sit on the tail of an American bomber. And then it comes to the actual big problem. Map rotation, new maps that we kind of see in this patch, which are basically redesigned tank RP maps, which is good and bad, but the actual problem of the map rotation has not been addressed, and well, then the German teams were ripped apart. Let me explain that, because it's really important to go into my thinking process. So, first of all, German teams are known, or rather were known, for their insane teamwork, for their insane capability to protect each other, to first harvest the bombers, for example on Norway or Ruhr, and then also go still swarming onto the enemy's fighters that most of the time went into the German furball in a 1 versus 1. And the combination of evasive actions, baiting, teamwork, and just, yeah, doing the right thing granted the Germans most of the time a victory, except in the late war stages when the German teams were not capable of, using those advantages. With the new patch, there were a lot of aircraft to research for the Americans. 2 F4U variants, 1 A26 variant, and also the P-51H, and especially the later one triggered like the will to fly American planes again for so many experienced players. A lot of the experienced players want to have kind of a challenge, so they fly German aircraft and they really want to experience the teamwork because it's one of the best feelings when it works. And so American and British teams that have very good aircraft in the shape of the Spitfire, still in my opinion overperforming ones, for the meta at least, they very often found themselves in an uphill struggle because they were outnumbered, because there are a lot of bombers on the Allied side that then did not know how to play bombers properly, unlike those two guys that you can see here flying kind of a formation and working together because they are also in a squad. Now what I want to talk about is the shift of the experienced player base. So a lot of experienced players, they have all the aircraft in the game because they are long-term players, because you know, the pure will to get the maximum out of their planes. And again, a lot of them are playing German planes. I've talked to a lot of them. They're very, very passionate about their games, about teamwork, and you can feel it more than often that they really know how to deal with enemies. So first attack here on this B-17, he goes immediately down, and despite having here the opportunity, I go away from the second B-17, also because the wreck is still dangerous. I observe him, he turns around, and well, he thought he could gun me down, and I get a few bursts into him, and of course he clips me and immediately damages my wing a little bit. So here I tried just to quickly use the speed and the altitude to attack him before Allied help can arrive. A good burst, and I have a lucky RNG roll, so to speak. I set him on fire, leave him alone, turn around, and you can see how sluggish the plane is despite the okayish speed, and I throw myself into a head-on against the Bearcat. The only thing that he had a chance to screw it up in a 1 versus 1 is going into a head-on, and so he simply did that. So I had not just a double strike, but also my third kill. So good result right there, right? So, and here we can see the PB4Y, which is not a very good bomber. I still would prefer the B-24 because it has still a belly gunner that the PB4Y lacks, which you really, really feel. And I saw also this Spitfire closing in on this Focke-Wulf. Looked at the stat card, and now they're out of vision, but I still know that they are there. The rest of my team is kind of struggling, but I need to clean out that Spitfire on the rear of the Focke-Wulf because I can save him. I try to get it into the combat messages, but it's too late. The Spitfire F kills the Focke-Wulf 190A. Who would have seen that coming? The only thing that I now can win against this Spitfire, either if he doesn't pay any attention or if he throws himself and commits himself to a head-on against me. And you know, at this point in time, if I would trade it, it would be a 4th kill, it would be a good result. I'm low on ammo, kind of, and well, doesn't seem like he's paying any attention. Taking the lead, taking my time, short burst, thank you very much. 4th kill. Rank does not matter. Well, depends. So at this point in time, what can I do? With just the central 20mm still having ammunition and the 13mm, which most of the time are really useless, well, what can I do with it? Not much. I'm also damaged. My pilot is injured, so I decide myself to go back because I'm still over the airfield. I would lose the minimum amount for the maximum of, well, benefit. Fully armed, fully repaired, and that's then how I would go back into combat. So let's just do that. After cutting 7 minutes of pure climbing out of this gameplay, you can see I'm back at altitude. I'm not wasting my WEP or WEP. And well, at this point, this is very crucial. I have not seen the PB4Y, and well, he must have gone back to base. And now there are 2 teammates still alive, but they are circling dangerously close to the enemy's base. As it will turn out, the majority of enemy players went back to rearm and refill. And usually German teammates are working together just fine, you know, looking after each other's six, baiting, teamwork simply, and just outplaying the enemy, even with inferior performing planes. But now there are so many targets low that this Focke-Wulf again got greedy and didn't wait. I typed it in chat, just wait, let's work together to have a decent chance, because we are still have an uphill fight in the shape of that we are close to the base. I would not attack the enemies there. I would wait up until we are on our half of the map, and yeah, try to now play Overwatch. I try to go after the one with the highest altitude, which is this Tempest. So I type it again into the chat, and now I try to dive on the Tempest, trying to reduce my speed, but the B109s always have this nice behavior of overspeeding if you really need the speed and you have a good attack round. I could have had the Tempest here, but I have to abandon the dive, otherwise I would rip apart my plane. I need to, well, still have my plane, and look at this. I was diving on him with nearly 800 and he just pulled up and was immediately behind him. I had to, well, deal with compression, and now I am again way too slow to make my plane work. Regardless if I would have the gun pods or not, it doesn't matter. The difference in performance is so significant that this is the least of my problems. The Tempest also rolls out of a head-on, and well, I get no hit into him. I cannot really control my plane because it's wobbling all around. Still, the instructor is screwing over with me. I pull up, and again the Tempest is behind me, but again I have so much speed under my belt that I can deal with him, but he is closing in dangerously, and yeah, I just can't get guns on target regardless of what I do. Maybe I'm misplaying hero there, but it's just that one thing that I have to do, and I lose all my advantages. I try to make the best out of here of throttle control and flaps, and yeah, just criticize me for not playing correctly or to my best advantages. But now my team is falling apart. The Focke-Wulf on 90D gets shot down, a very crucial ally, and there is a Bearcat now above me. So I know I do not have a lot of time. There are 4 enemies left, and I'm probably the last player alive. Oh my. So I turn around, and then I couldn't care less. What would I do? I couldn't energy fight the Bearcat, so I destroy him in a head-on. And then let's do the same with the Spitfire, and he gets 1 shell into me and it does massive damage to the entirety of my plane. My engine is damaged, my pilot is again injured. If I would not have landed, I would be dead right now. And then this Tempest is doing the sensible thing, you know, rolling out of the head-on. And now there's a Bearcat 1B behind me. And even if I would slow down, I would not bleed the speed fast enough. And who says that he couldn't, like, just simply do the same? But he doesn't. He overshoots. I cannot make an advantage behind out of that because the Tempest is behind me. Rolling, defensive flying, blah blah blah. It doesn't work in this kind of situation. With a Spitfire, I would kill them both. I would kill them both. But in a BF-109, no chance. Regardless of what I do. And that's me being killed as the last player of my team because I had, performance-wise, no chance. The only thing that the Tempest was doing was, you know, being aware of my presence. That's all it took for him to make me overshoot and, you know, dodge me and to turn guns on me. So yeah, that's really kind of a heartbreaker, but it's a symptomatic match for all the other outcomes. And look at the results: nearly 75,000 silver lines on a loss and 5,000 research points. And then look at this: I killed 6 planes, the second one killed 2, and then the rest of our team did nothing. They just died. the entirety of the enemy team was just better in most respects. And so just 4 players of the enemy team did nothing. Ah, what a heartbreaker. So I hope you kind of see what I'm talking about, and this is just a symptomatic match. That's it for me today, so thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other in the skies and on the battlefields of War Thunder.